never be ashamed to be a proud Jew. It's not what you've done, it's how he made you. So sing the song and spread the pride around you. Yehudi ani, eternally. Hey Abraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, v'nei Sarah Rivka, El v'Leah, hey Abraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov.
This is what I've been doing.
Thank you so much. Okay. How did this happen?
You never told me that. No, not in your life, Mark. Never, never, because I would have taken your word.
Nunca.
There's a lying husband here. No.
Uh-oh.
Mark, you've never told me that. Never, never, never.
But that doesn't mean it wasn't in my mind. She's not working.
Dan, do we have any grape juice ready for me for kiddos? Can we?
Feel like you wish.
I thought we had some from the last time I was here. Right. So, you've been. Oh, Dan, I stand corrected. We're going to do it in the Simcha. I forgot.
I know.
So you better stop.
This government is merciless.
We're going to start. Hi, Greg. Good to see you. Nice to see you. We are going to start. I'm going to take the mask off. Azoy.
Are you comfortable if I sit here?
You're fine, you're fine.
I'm fully vaccinated.
Oh, yeah. Me too. I'm happy for Hannah. It's really nice.
Yeah. Stressful.
Yes, especially in nowadays with this situation.
So, you know, if she, is there a shortage of hospitals?
Okay, this is a test for sound.
None of them get sick. You saw all the bar,
Testing 1, 2,
every patient.
3.
Get sick.
Okay, let's see if this will stay here.
It sounds good.
Oops. Okay, folks, are you ready for some fun and an exciting evening?
Yes.
Good. Thank you for responding. We had one excited yes. And everyone else felt it in their hearts, right? Okay. So this is the evening now of Simchat Torah. For those watching on YouTube or live stream for the first time, maybe sometime in the future, visitors from another planet or other parts of the earth will see this video, we never know. So we should introduce ourselves. This is Congregation Betham of Longwood, Florida. There are other congregations named Betham, but there is no other congregation in the world that is located in Longwood, Florida, than this congregation, Betham. My name is Rabbi David Barnett, and I'm really happy to be with you here this evening, because this is an evening where we have the feeling of, basically, I have, each Jewish holiday you see has a different kind of ambiance, a different feeling to it. And so I've always associated Simchat Torah with the feeling of contained ecstasy. It's not outright raucous and crazy like Purim. It's not that kind of feeling. It's good that we have holidays that go through the gamut of feelings, because that helps us appreciate our humanity. For just about every kind of mood, there is a Jewish occasion where you could demonstrate that within and share it within a communal context. Yom Kippur, very solemn. That doesn't mean you can't laugh on Yom Kippur, but it's a solemn holiday. It's a time for heavy duty internal soul work. No questions barred. No searchings unleft. It's a time for a lot of intense personal work and communal work. But Simchas Torah, after the holiday of Sukkot, we had Shmini Atzeret yesterday. They added the extra day of Shmini Atzeret just so you would have an extra day of stopping. If people didn't want to go home, they enjoyed the community, and they were enjoying being the Sukkah. We're going to be in the Sukkah tonight. And so after then Shmini Atzeret, you have Simchat Torah, which of course symbolizes and involves in the observance and the actions of finishing one part of the Torah, the last part of the book of Deuteronomy. And then as soon as we finish, what do? We begin again, because it's a never-ending cycle. And there is never an end to Torah learning. So we're going to be having some songs. We have some great music, thanks to Mark Davids. Some of you who were here earlier heard some of the setup here. Absolutely tremendous. We're going to combine that with some actual vocal singing of songs that you may know, and you'll, of course, invited to join in with that. And we will still be having the Torah processions, but we're going to do it COVID style. So they have I was trying to think of, they have there was a hit kind of dance video thing that was really, really hot a couple years ago with the kids. And it was like from a country like Indonesia or India or something like that. It was something like, I can't remember the name of the style, and it was like something style. Gangnam style, yes, thank you. Was that Korean? The Gangnam style, yes, the Gangnam style. It took the world by storm. So I was thinking of that as we were planning our evening. Thank you, yes. So this is COVID style. And so we'll be socially distanced, but that doesn't mean you can't dance, can't get up and move. And it just won't be quite as tactile as some of the other times. So we're going to designate, we have 2 Torah scrolls, and we'll designate one person to hold each of those scrolls the time. And if they get tired, they'll just put the scroll on the table. Then when they get some more energy, we'll just have them pick it up. And that'll be very simple that way. Sanitary, clean, COVID style, and it should work. So the first part of what we do this evening is rather, you could say, well, it's not routine even. It's not routine because it's a festival service. It's on this service, actually, on this service, where sometimes we have different melodies just for fun that we add in, different motifs. And so sometimes I've done that before. I'm going to try and add a few this time. It's traditionally done on this evening to make the feeling a little bit lighter than not just the regular festival nusach. We'll hear the festival nusach like I did last evening. For those of you who were there, who saw it on the video, we'll hear it a little bit. I'll do a little bit of that, but I'll also throw in some other tunes and melodies that you'll hopefully recognize. And in a couple of cases, will be symbolic, or let's say consonant, combined with either a corresponding meaning, an underlying meaning in the liturgy, in the words themselves, or in feeling. And so let me know how what you think about it afterwards. Again, it's creative, it's spontaneous to a large degree, and meant to uplift our souls and make us ready and to be, it's certainly a time of celebration. This is Simchat Torah. So it's not Yagon Torah, God forbid, the tragedy of Torah. It's Simchat, it's the joy of Torah. So that's the concept of that. So on page 50, we'll invite you to rise and face our eastern wall. And we'll begin with the Baruch Hu, like I said, with the Shalosh Regalim, the festival Nusach. Baruch Hu et Adonai Amvorach, Baruch Adonai Amvorach, Leolam Vaed, Baruch Adonai Amvorach, Leolam Vaed. And please be seated. And at the bottom of page 51, there's a responsive reading. And let's do that here together, or, responsively. O Lord, your word brings on the evening twilight. The heavens proclaim your glory. And we, the creatures on earth. Help us to recognize your guiding power in distant galaxies and in our own souls. Source of peace, bless our worship. May our meditations find favor in your sight. So that like the changing seasons, the days, the nights, our lives too will proclaim your glory. Amen. So thinking of the changing seasons, the days and nights, here's the conclusion for that Uma'avir Yom. Uma'avir Yom, Umevi Laila, Umavdil ben Yom, Uven Laila, Adonai Tzvaot Shemot, El Chai V'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu, Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Hamariv Haravim. And we continue down page 53. Let's go to 53 with the responsive reading for Ahavat Olam. With everlasting love, you have loved the people, the house of Israel, teaching us your Torah, its mitzvot, laws, and judgments. Therefore, when we lie down and when we rise up, we shall speak of your commandments and rejoice forever in your Torah and in your mitzvot. For they are our life and the length of our days. On them we will meditate day and night. May your love never depart from us. Praised are you, O Lord, bestower of love upon your people Israel. By the way, in terms of introduction, since we're not quite yet at the Shema, I want to thank the Life Point Church. And in particular, I saw Tamara here earlier tonight. I didn't get to say hi, but I don't know if she's in the booth there or not. I'm going to give a wave for eternity to Tamara, and I'm going to thank her in advance because I know that she's been hopefully setting this up for us. Rabbi? Yes. You can thank Albert, too. Albert, okay. Okay, thank you so much, Albert. We appreciate that. And anyone else we should thank on it? Tamara, Albert, good. Okay, so we are on page 52, the concluding section here. Ki hem chayeinu v'arach yameinu v'hem negei yomam v'layla v'avatecha al tasir mimenu l'olamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Amen. Now we continue page 54 with the Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha V'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meotecha Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לו תותפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, Uvish'arecha. And we continue with the second paragraph and most of the third individually, pages 56 through 58. Page 58, 4 lines from the bottom. L'ma'an tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kedushim l'Eloheichem. Ani Adonai Eloheichem, asher hotzaiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, le'olechem l'Elohim. Ani Adonai Eloheichem, Adonai Eloheichem, Emet. And we continue now on page 61. Reading sort of individually, I think, for the first part of this, and then we'll come in with the Hebrew with Malchut Tov Ratzon. ומלכות טוב רצון קיבלו עליהם, משה בני ישראל, לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ויאמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות הוסף אליהם. מלכותך רובנך וקיים לפני משה, זה לי ענו ויאמרו, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Now let's go to the English for a special reason. And that is, I'd like us to read in italics the sentence that begins with, as you delivered. As you delivered the children of Israel from a mightier power, so may you redeem all your children from oppression. Praised are you, O Lord, Redeemer of Israel. Now, I have to sort of set this in context here a little bit with a plea for understanding from our listeners that this is not going to be like a recording from the Metropolitan, that is the Metropolitan Opera. But there is an opera that I heard. This is what I'm going to sing is like a one-liner, and adapt it to this phrase v'ne'emar, because when I heard this one line from one of the famous operas, it struck me as just an heroic sound, because this is a really heroic verses. God, where this is the Exodus out of Egypt, and recollecting the miracle of the Red Sea, God delivering the children of Israel from the Egyptians with their chariots and their horses. It was like a doom scenario, and suddenly the sea opens, they're able to cross, and it's a prayer not only remembering that past redemption, but also a future redemption for all of Israel, the Israel people, the people of Israel. So, here goes. Not in the original key. V'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai gal Yisrael. So I'll have to come back with a footnote for the inquisitive to find which opera that comes from. On page 62, we continue with the Hashkivenu prayer. let's read the short version like we did, well, one of the short versions. Your tabernacle of peace, page 62 at the bottom. Spread your tabernacle of peace, O Lord, over us and our people, we pray. To the sick and the suffering, send your hope. To the forgotten and the lonely, send your love. To the pursuers of justice, send wisdom and faith. To the seekers of peace, send unwavering resolve. Tranquility and joy. To the world tonight, send blessings of peace. And here's one that I remember that I did a number of years ago. If I can remember how to start it. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, sukat shlomecha, baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. A little Brahms for us, the Brahms lullaby. I thought that would be appropriate for that. Now, we come to page 64, a proclamation of the festivals. Let's read it first in English. And Moses proclaimed the festivals of the Lord to the children of Israel. V'yadaber Moshe et moadei Adonai el bnei Yisrael. Hopefully that sounded heroic. Page 66, we're going to go to the reader's Chatzi Kaddish. And in the tradition of my great teacher who I honored and mentioned last night, I will mention him again now that we are a live stream, and I mentioned him on high holidays, the late great cantor Alan Michelson, Alav Shalom, who touched the hearts of everyone who ever met him, inspired generation of cantors, male and female, on the West Coast and throughout the United States. And as I mentioned, he, as a young boy, sang in cantor Moshe Kuzovitsky's choir and had memories of that. And he taught me the version of the Chatzi Kaddish. Now it's participatory, so when I give you the cue, that means you have to sing Amen, please. And then come in, of course, with the congregation and reader line, Yehi Shmei Rabbah. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shmei Rabbah, Amen. Be'alma divrach irute v'yamelich malchute b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chaye dechor beit Yisrael pakala uvizman kariv v'rimeru v'imeru 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 Amen, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevorach לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי 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 דקודשה דקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ויאמרו Amen. Now, for those of you who are so focused on the question I raised earlier that you won't have the full sense of concentration on the Amidah for the festival, God forbid, because you're still worried about the question that I posed. So I will give you now the answer that I myself recollected. And the opera, that the V'ne'emar, Kifadad al Yaakov, that line that I chanted that was back on, I'll give you the page 60, that was Turandot, the opera called Turandot. That having been said, we're going to invite everyone now to turn to page 98 and 99. Actually, let's just go directly to 99. will invite you to rise, face the eastern wall. Like we say, karagil, as usual. When you've completed the Amidah, please be seated. Now, we never want to disrespectfully or anything make light of the basically praises to God or denigrate it in any way, but there are sometimes that we do certain things a little faster, and sometimes we do certain things a little slower. For example, on the Reader's Kaddish. After you've completed the Amidah, it doesn't have to be a grand showcase for opera each time, and so often we do it quite quickly. The rabbinic command is to say the words, chant the words, and so it's not necessarily a time for operatics at that moment or great chazanut. So, by the way, you can't go that fast that you skip the notation that you have to pause between the two shins. If you noticed, I even did it right then. Yitkadal Yitkadash, pause. Shemei Rabbah, because you're not supposed to mix the two shins together, because Shemei Rabbah means his great name. So you don't want to get all things mixed up. So, nonetheless, there are sometimes we do it quicker, just like I began to demonstrate. And sometimes we do it slower. Yitkadal Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah. The mourner's Kaddish. When we have people say it, I want everyone to be able to say it. It's not a time for me to show off or anything with speed, or any rabbi to show off with speed on that, or hidden ways of saying certain words. That having been said, this is a night that I said you make things just a little lighter, a little more fun. So, reminiscent of those times in our liturgy when we do say the Kaddish, the Reader's Kaddish, a little faster. I'm going to put it to a slightly different melody right now. Or at least attempt to. Yikdal virgadash meraba daran 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 tantam alma divra khirute v'yamdi khamar khute b'chayechon uv'yomechon וכי תכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן 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 יתברך יש מרבה מברך לעולם לעולמי עלמיה עלמיה יתברך וישבח ויבער ויתרום ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה ושמי דקדושה בריחו בריחו אלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונקמתה וברמה ויאמרו אמן תתקבל צלחון ובאותכון תחור ישראל קדם אבהון תבשמיה ואמרו אמן 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 יהי שמי רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen. Hope you liked it. Now, often in a synagogue setting, a different kind of synagogue setting here, we would do the festival Kiddush at this point in the service. However, since it's still Sukkot, it was my suggestion that we will have Kiddush in the Sukkah. Well, it's actually not Sukkot anymore. Sukkot is formally over with really, Hoshana Rabbah, and then we had Shmini Atzeret. But we still have the Sukkah constructed and standing, and it was the result of a lot of work by the men's club. And since we didn't have the opportunity to actually be there very much in community this year, I thought it'd be a nice thing to do that. So we'll overlook and pass on that for the moment. That brings us to, actually, at this juncture in the service. So we're going to do things as, if you'll note on page 113, there is a program note, which is very easy to overlook because it's in very small print. And it says in italics, in the small print, Hakafot for Simchat Torah, page 518. So before we go into actually Aleinu, we now have the celebration of Simchat Torah liturgically beginning on page 518. So we're going to invite everyone to turn now to page 518. And this is a section here that these verses are very beautiful verses, and they come from different parts of the liturgy, and they're sort of combined together here in sort of a potpourri, you could say. And some of them, they come from all different parts of our liturgy in all different places. And so you will notice them, that they sound very, very familiar. And then some are adapted specifically for this evening. Some of them come from Psalms. Some of them from the Psalms have been incorporated into different parts of the liturgy. Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, the festivals, Shabbat, everything mixed in. So, and it's done to a specific melody. So these are verses. Da 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 da. Let's try that melody. Da 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 da. Now, let me show you how to adapt that melody to the words. Then, let's say that you want to do a string of words. So you would da 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 da. You just do all that word. Just say a bunch of words on that note. Da 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 da. And you come to the last words. Da 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 da. And then da 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 da. So let's try it. Ready? Da 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 da. So, a couple people here, more than a couple, actually, I want to encourage to be brave enough. If you can read some of the Hebrew, it's relatively simple Hebrew. Like number 3 is the Ein Kamocha. Okay, or sort of like, So, anybody, I'll begin the first one. Ata hereta ladat, ki Adonai hu Elohim, Ve'en od milvado. Who would like to do number 2 from your seat? But rise, stand as you do it. Lo osei niflaot. Who'd like to do that? Lo osei niflaot. Let's have a volunteer, someone. Greg. Lo osei gdulot levado. Ki leolam chasto. And what I'm going to do for each person who volunteers, I'm going to sort of like coax you through it. So that way it'll be picked up on the live stream as well. Otherwise, the live stream won't hear you. Ein kamocha. Who's going to do Ein kamocha? Okay, Mark, ready? Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kamasecha. Great, good job. Number 4, Yihi Chavod. Yihi Chavod. Who's going to do Yihi Chavod? Greg again, ready? Yihi Chavod Adonai le'olam. Yismach Adonai b'ma'asav. Okay, number 5, I'm going to call on Mark. Ready? Yihi. Mark Davids. Perfect. Number 6. It looks long. I'll do number 6. Yihi Adonai Eloheinu imanu. Kasher haya im avoteinu, al ya'azvenu va'al yichenu. Number 7 is also long. Let me volunteer. V'imru hoshi'enu Elohei ish'enu, v'kabsenu v'hatzilenu min hagoyim, lodot l'shem kodshecha, nishtabeach b'thilatecha. Number 8 is very easy. The last one's on Yom Kippur. The last page on Yom Kippur, who's up for that? Okay. Is that Osvaldo back there? I can't see from a distance. Beautiful. Thank you. Adonai Oz. This is a famous one. So, Jackie, how about it? Ready? With me. And Mark, you can help her. You can do it as a duet. Ready? Adonai Oz. Ready? 1, take a breath, go. Adonai Oz le'amo yitein. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Beautiful. And last but not least, we have Moshe. He thought he was going to escape. Morris, you're on. Vayihi. Oh, he doesn't. Okay. The only time he's had an excuse. Well, someone else's glasses might not work. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Now, if we're going to symbolically pretend this is where we're in the land. We're in Florida. Florida, and not only are we in Florida, but we are. I'm building up to something here. We are very close to Orlando. Now, technically, we're in Longwood, but Longwood is one of the suburbs of Orlando, right? Even a non-Floridian knows that. And when we think of Orlando, what do we think of? Disney. And when you think of Disney, what do you think of? Imagination, right? So, imagine you're opening the ark. The ark now has been opened. Let's imagine that a little bit better. So, let's have everyone do it. Ready? Pick up your arms. Open the ark. Open your own magical ark. I want to see everyone do it. Some people didn't do it. Join the party. Ready? Ready? Go for it. Open the ark. Good. It can be a one-fingered one. That's good. Modern tech. Okay. Same melody, different verses. Vayihi v'nsoah. A lot of people know that. Vayihi v'nsoah. Who'd like to do that? Vayihi v'nsoah. Okay. Anyone else before Greg? Because that's an easy one. A really easy one. We need more people to take my Hebrew class then, please. Right? If you're not comfortable with Hebrew, be sure to take my class. The beginning, we start from Aleph. The very beginning. Okay. Vayihi Greg. Vayihi Aaron. Vayomer Moshe. Mark Davis. I'm just going to call on people. Like it or not? Well, sort of kind of like it. Mark. Good. Number 2, Kuma Adonai. Any brave soul? I don't want to embarrass anyone by so. I know. Okay, Moshe again. Kuma Adonai limnuchatecha ataba aron uzecha. The priests are dressed in righteousness. Those are their garments. Okay, ready. Everyone together with me. Konecha yulbishu tzedek v'chasidecha yiraneinu. And your faithful ones sing with joy. Okay, that leads us to my namesake, so I'm going to do that in his honor. Bavur David avdecha al teshev pnei mishichecha. Number 5. Together. V'amar b'yom haku hine Eloheinu zeh kivinu lo v'yoshi'enu zeh Adonai kivinu lo nagila v'nismecha b'shuato. Number 6. Okay, I heard who was that? Was that Greg? Go for it. Malchutecha malchut kol olamim umemshaltecha bechol dor vador. Good. Kimitzion tetzei Torah. That has to be one of our songs. Actually, I think I wrote that in our list. Did I write that one? Yes, of course I wrote that one. Together. Kimitzion tetzei Torah udvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Good. Now, line 8, together. Av harachamim, heitiva v'yortonecha etzion, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. And number 9 altogether. Ki v'cha levad batachnu, melech el ram v'nisa, adon olamim. Very special verses. Okay. Now, wait a minute. Where are our Torah scrolls? We are taking 2 out, right? We're taking 2. Where are they at the moment? Oh, okay. Earlier would have been the time to bring them forward, but it's okay. It's never too late. Just never too late or never too early to study Torah. So we're going to bring them forward. While they're doing that, I'm going to teach you the melody. So there's a melody for Anenu V'Yom Korenu. And it goes like this. Die, 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 die. Once more. Anenu, anenu, v'yom korenu. Anenu, 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 v'yom korenu. Once more. Anenu, anenu, v'yom korenu. Anenu, 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 v'yom korenu. Actually, since you gentlemen are holding them, you brought them out, why don't you lead us? Do you gentlemen want to be the ones who hold them? Sure. Okay. So we're gonna do 7 what they call hakafot processions, circles around the synagogue, but don't start yet. I'll give you the cue to when you start, and we'll have you go. Mark, you'll follow Dan. You'll go. You're not like this, but you'll follow him. Yes, and we'll go this way. So just Dan, just go as far as where Greg is, and that part. You'll go around the chairs, and then come back around these chairs here, around where Mark Davids is, and then come back to the center, and then we'll have some music, and then not quite.
7 times or 1 time?
It'll be 7 times actually, but so the first time we start with a couple introductory verses here. Ana Adonai Hoshiana, Adonai Ana Adonai Hatzalichana, Ana Adonai Anenu V'Yom Korenu. Let's just practice the chorus. Anenu, Anenu V'Yom Korenu, Anenu, Anenu, Anenu V'Yom Korenu. Okay, here's the first one. And then when we go into the Anenu, that's when you can start progressing. Start walking the procession. So, Elohe. Actually, sometimes it's done while they're while they're in motion. So let's do that, okay? You start, Dan, please, and then I will start singing. Elohei haruchot Hoshiana Bochein Devavot Hatzlichana Goel Hazak Aneinu V'yom Koreinu Aneinu Aneinu V'yom Koreinu Aneinu 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 V'yom Koreinu Aneinu Aneinu V'yom Koreinu Aneinu 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 V'yom Koreinu. Okay, so here's where we're going to start doing some music. It's going to be sort of improv between myself and Mark. I'm going to start with the oh, just be that. I like that sound. Hold on, keep that one. Keep that one there.
I don't know what it is.
Keep it there. Okay.
I don't know what it is.
That was a kanun. Okay, ready. So you can get up now and move around and follow them, and you can go in this. You can go down the center aisle too. So. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב הנה מה טוב די 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 הנה מה טוב הנה מה טוב די 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 הנה מה טוב ומנעים די 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 הנה מה טוב ומנעים די 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 feel free to dance הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד
Tuna, 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 can't you hear the music playing in the city square? Tuna, 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 come where all our friends will find us swimming at the fair. Tuna, tuna, join the celebration. There'll be people there from every nation. Dawn will find us laughing in the sunlight, dancing in the square. Tuna, 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 dance the hora, 1, 2, 3, 4. All the boys will let me be for Senna, Senna. When the band is playing, my heart sing Senna, Senna, Senna.
Friends, have you been dancing to this song the last year?
Okay, so that's great. That was actually 2 songs that I had for our first Hakafah. Now we'll invite those with the Torah scrolls to come back to the bima, and we're going to have the beginning of the second Hakavah. By the way, in some communities, they go for like 3 hours in these celebrations, this dancing, the different Hakavot. And Mark is nodding his head and saying, I've got patience in the morning. Was I right? No. So yes, stay right there. Yeah, each on each side. That's perfect. Okay, actually, as I begin singing now, you can start walking. Dover stakot Hoshiana Adur bilbusho Hatzlichana Vatik v'hasid Anenu v'yom koreinu. Everyone, Anenu, Anenu v'yom koreinu. Anenu, join them and Anenu v'yom koreinu. Anenu, Anenu v'yom koreinu. Anenu, Anenu, Anenu v'yom koreinu. Okay, do you want to do one? Good, Marsha. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagelaretz. So your rabbi is going to join the dance. Yiram hayam, yiram hayam, everyone, see if you can come up with a hora. The only horror in the world, COVID style. Urachim b'lev sameach, urachim b'lev sameach, urachim b'lev. Shalom, shalom, shalom aleichem. Shalom aleichem. Eivenu shalom aleichem. Eivenu shalom aleichem. Eivenu shalom, shalom, shalom aleichem. Shalom aleichem. Eivenu shalom aleichem. Eivenu shalom aleichem. Eivenu shalom, shalom, shalom aleichem. Okay. Thank you, Mark. That was perfect. We are going to continue with the third hakafah. Catch your breath. You can use one mask to give you a little air there. Okay. By the way, who can tell me that what you learned on Yom Kippur that I taught and Rosh Hashanah, with respect to the nature of rabbinical psalms, piyutim, like this, take a look at the beginning of each phrase and tell me what you notice in terms of sequence. Look at the first letter of every phrase and see if you notice something. It's in order of the alphabet, an alphabetical acrostic, using all the medium of speech and all the sounds that we can produce to praise God. So it's intrinsically symbolic. This is now going to be our third hakafah. Is that correct? I think yes. So Zach, let's get our Torah scrolls up here. We're going to begin from up here. That's right. Great. Okay, very good. Good. Zach vayashar Hoshiana, Hoshiana, Chomel Dalim, Hatzlichana, Hatzlichana, Tov Meitiv, Anenu B'yom Koreinu, Anenu, Anenu B'yom Koreinu, Anenu, Anenu, Anenu B'yom Koreinu, Anenu, Anenu B'yom Koreinu, Anenu, Anenu, Anenu B'yom Koreinu. And I'm going to begin with a song, and then we're going to go to switch to electronic. Mark, we thank you. I don't want to wait till the end to thank you again. This is like awesome. Thank you so much. So, Sisu et Yerushalayim giluva, giluva kol havea. Sisu et Yerushalayim giluva, giluva kol ohavea. Al chomotayich ir David ifkadeti shomrim, kol hayom vekol halayla. Al chomotayich ir David ifkadeti shomrim, kol hayom vekol halayla, kol halayla. Clap. Sisu et Yerushalayim giluva, giluva kol ohavea. Sisu et Yerushalayim giluva, giluva kol ohavea. Okay, música electrónica.
Sisu et Yerushalayim giluva, giluva kol ohavea, kol ohavea. Sisu et Yerushalayim giluva, giluva kol ohavea. Sisu et Yerushalayim giluva, giluva kol ohavea.
Sisu et Yerushalayim giluva, כל הלילה.
If you had a choice, would you rather pay $12 for the
Well, that's commercialim. It's electronica. Here we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. COVID style, I love it. Like Gangan style, except a little different. Jewish Gangan style, how's that? Jewish Gangan style. Who knew? Who would ever know? Who could imagine? Well, I've been doing swimming almost every day, so I could try and get in shape for this. But if you feel a little winded, that's okay. So we have our fourth hakafa. See, we need aerobics. It's supposed to be good. So, fourth hakafa, page 522. Yodea machshavot Hoshiana Kabir v'naor hatzalichana Novechtakot Anenu v'yom korenu Anenu, Anenu v'yom korenu Anenu, Anenu, Anenu v'yom korenu Anenu, Anenu v'yom korenu Anenu, Anenu, Anenu v'yom korenu. Okay, I thought of an oldie but goodie. Arza Alinu. Who knows the song? Arza Alinu, very old song. So you can walk a little slower with it. They're going to sort of take, but it's not, so. Arza Alinu, we can start begin the Prussians now. Arza Alinu, Arza Alinu, Arza Alinu. Arza Alinu, Arza Alinu, Arza Alinu. Kvar zaranu, ve'agam kadinu. No, lo katsarnu, aval od lo katsarnu. So let's try that over again. The words are, and I'm going to ask Morris to help me on that because he might have some different words. But kvar zaranu, we have already sown. The kvar ta'inu, I thought it was. That we have, what's the second one that you have? Say it again. Oh, that's it. That's right. Yes. Okay, so here we go. Kavod zaranu, harashnu, we have plowed and then we have sown, but we haven't harvested yet. Okay. Kvar harashnu, kvar zaranu. There we go. Arza alinu, arza alinu, arza alinu, arza alinu, arza alinu, arza alinu. Kvar harashnu, kvar gam zaranu, kvar harashnu, vegam zaranu, aval od lo katsarnu. Aval od lo katsarnu, aval od lo katsarnu. But we haven't harvested yet, but we will. Yivarechecha, Yivarechecha Hashem Tzion, Urei betuv Yerushalayim. Yivarechecha Hashem Tzion, Urei betuv Yerushalayim. Dai 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 dai. And now we go to electronica.
שמעתי שעושים בו מסיבה בלעדיי, אף אחד לא עושה את זה יותר טוב ממני. נשים ונעצור מאחוריי, אנה הולך עד שכולכם משלונים. שמעתי שהלכתם בלעדיי, אף אחד לא עושה את זה יותר טוב ממני. הראש כבר מסתובב כולם בהיי, לא נעצור עד שכולכם משלונים. תרימו לי להיט, תרימו לב עולה, הקצב כאן עולה. מהפכה של שמחה, כי כולנו משתחה ונרקוד בטירוף, כי הגיע הזמן לאור, מעכשיו רק שמחה, משקיעה ביד זריחה, השתגענו מורדים, יהודים הם
Go ahead, it's your moment. Your heart and your soul is wide open. You look inside and your feelings are alive. The feeling of the divine inspires you, better own it. We're leading the joy revolution, the Jewish music evolution. Cause with the help of our God, up above, we're a nation as one. Cause we know where the truth is.
This is our time, light of the night.
We dance to the beat of our own drum. We're guided by the light of the Torah.
This is our time, Simcha tonight.
Cause all that we got in the world is the love in our heart.
אלוקים, אלוקים, רק תשמור על היהודים, תחבק אוהבים, שתמיד נהיה שמחים. אלוקים, אלוקים, רק תשמור על
על היהודים. Beautiful. This is going to be very strange, but I have to give thanks. And not only give thanks to God, but to a great medical doctor who will never hear this. But maybe someday I'll have a chance to mention to him that he was mentioned on a recording which can be found on YouTube, Dr. Anthony Carter, who performed surgery on my hip, gave me a new hip, an artificial hip, to be able to be doing this dancing, which at one point in my life was inconceivable that I would be ever able to do this again. And thanks to Dr. Anthony Carter, I was able to do it. If we had a 20-year-old, I think I could say I'd be keeping up with him and without pain. Dr. Anthony Carter, if you ever hear this, thank you, thank you. As a matter of fact, maybe some point someone give me the exact time in our recording that we would find this in the future, and maybe he could sing or hear it. So you'd probably get a kick out of it. I hope you would. That having been said, we go now to the fifth hakafa. Melech olamim Hoshiana Naor ve'adir Hatzalichana Somech noflim Anenu v'yom kor'enu Anenu, Anenu b'yom kor'enu Anenu, Anenu, Anenu b'yom kor'enu Anenu, Anenu b'yom kor'enu Anenu, Anenu, Anenu b'yom kor'enu Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. I think you found it. You know? Okay. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah ודבר השם מירושלים כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר השם מירושלים once more כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר השם מירושלים כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר השם מירושלים ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר השם מירושלים כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר השם מירושלים. Here's one to sort of relax. Everyone get up. Lo yisa goy el goy. Lo yisa goy el goy chereb לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה, לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה, לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה, לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. So that was lo יישא גוי אל גוי חרב. One nation shall not lift up sword against another. ולא ילמדו עוד מלחמה, and neither should they study or learn war anymore. So that's directly from our liturgy. Do we have another electronica at the moment of your choice? Good. Shalom al Israel. Morris, good. Moshe, great. Great dancing. Osvaldo takes over. Good. Good, Morris. Yasher Koh, that was fancy footwork. What? Oh, good. 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 Good to see you up. Okay, we're going to go to the sixth hakafa. Ozer dadim hoshianam, podeu matzirat lichanam, tzur olamim aneinu v'yom koreinu, aneinu, aneinu v'yom koreinu, aneinu, aneinu, aneinu v'yom koreinu. Here's one you all know. Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov. Yehelanu, yehelanu, yehelanu. Let's dance. Ulechol Yisrael, yehelanu, yehelanu. Move it. Ulechol Yisrael. Torahs go first. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Nachamol again. Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov. Yehelanu, 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 ulechol Yisrael. Go ahead. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Electronica. Okay, here's the seventh hakafa. We're going to throw in the kitchen sink for this one. Might come up with something Mizrahi, Oriental. Might come up with Eveinu Shalom Aleichem. That's what I had written down. Or B'Shana Haba'ah, or something. Kadosh v'nora Hoshiana, Rachum v'chanun Hatzalichana, Shomer Abrit Aneinu V'yom Koreinu. We can wait a minute. We keep going. Tomech Timimim Hoshiana, Takif La'ad Hatzalichana, Tamim B'ma'asav Aneinu V'yom Koreinu. Now we go Aneinu, Aneinu V'yom Koreinu, Aneinu, Aneinu, Aneinu V'yom Koreinu, Aneinu, Aneinu V'yom Koreinu, Aneinu, Aneinu, Aneinu V'yom Koreinu.
Eveinu Shalom, Eveinu Shalom,
Eveinu Shalom. Okay, this is the last hakafa, so let's get as many people up dancing as we can. Shalom Aleichem, Eivenu Shalom Aleichem. Dragging. Shalom. It's good. Eivenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. Eivenu Shalom Aleichem. Eivenu Shalom Aleichem. Eivenu Shalom Aleichem. Eivenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. So cute together. Aleichem. Eivenu Shalom Aleichem. Eivenu Shalom Aleichem. Eivenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. Eivenu Shalom Aleichem. Eivenu Shalom Aleichem. Eivenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. One more? Great.
בריח אורנים נישא ברוח הרביים עם כל פעמונים.
Everyone can get up and move slowly to this one. It's Jerusalem of Gold. You don't have to actually dance. You can just walk.
העיר אשר בדד יושב בליבה.
Why don't you process with this one? Good. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, הלא לכל שירייך אני נור. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, הלא לכל שירייך אני נור.
איך יבשו בורות המים, כיכר השוק ריקה, ואין פוקדת הר הבית בעיר העתיקה. ובמערות אשר בסלע, והלילות רוחות, ואין יורד אל ים המלח בדרך יריחו.
Everyone sing. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, הלא לכל שירייך אני נור. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, הלא לכל שירייך אני נור. Thank you. Oh, we have a Mizrahi. Wow, it is Mizrahi.
בינינו רגשות וכוח אמיתי, בדקות הכי קשות אתה משלים אותי, וימים טובים באים עליך ועליי, אני רוצה אותך איתי לאורך כל חיי. קח אותי עד השמיים, גם באש וגם במים, תשבע להיות שלי, ותמיד תאהב אותי. אז נעוף עד השמיים, תסתכל לי בעיניים.
thank Mark Davids on this. We can clap for this one. Let's give him a hand. Bravo. Thank you so much. And now, we're not done. Actually, we're now able to begin the Torah reading parts. But it's not going to be a 3-hour Torah service. However, our goal is to have everyone symbolically in the congregation be able to have an aliyah as well, as we announced sort of in our flyer there. It'll be done COVID style, which we're used to sort of doing now from your seats there, basically, when we come to that. So at this point, I, with deep gratitude, am going to turn the service over here for deep gratitude for what you've done, Mark Davids, to give him the honor of leading us in our Torah service. That's found on page 524. We do the Shema, just really the Torah service is like we have regularly this first part, and then he'll introduce the readings as they occur.
Shema Echad Gadlu. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol, Adonenu Kadosh v'Norah Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol, Adonenu Kadosh v'Norah Shemo.
Adonai iti oneram ema Shemo yachdav.
So we'll sing Lachadodi, excuse me, not Lachadodi, but that's Shabbat, Lachadonai. Mark will direct the gentleman where to place the particular Torahs at the moment. Lachadonai ha'gedula ve'ha'gevura ve'ha'tiferet ve'ha'netzach ve'ha'od ki chol b'shamayim uvaretz ki chol b'shamayim uvaretz Lecha Adonai hamlacha ve'mitnaseh lechol rosh Romimu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtachavu L'hadom ragalav kadosh hu Romimu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtachavu L'har kodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. And the last Torah portion, V'zot HaBracha, I believe, is what we read from. And so it's the last part of the last part. The last part of the last portion. It's a very delicate thing to roll the Torah scrolls sometimes there. These guys look really, actually, you both really look professional. You're really doing it well. You know, that's very good. It's not an easy thing. Mark has a lot of experience doing this. Now, also, we're going to call upon, I think, Dan and Joan. So they have some. It's traditional to have some special people designated for the last honor of reading from each of the scrolls. So, in other words, for the honor of reading from the last portion of the book of Deuteronomy, that's called a chatan, or if it's a woman, a kala, or if you have combined, we can say kalot Torah. And then the ones beginning the book of Bereshit, then again it's the groom, chatan, or the kala, the bride of Bereshit. So for the ending then of Deuteronomy, I'd like to call upon, I think it's going to be Dan then, to introduce our special designees. Oh, okay. So just make sure that the mic is so that it picks up. You have to be about 6 inches in front of that one, or have it 6 inches close to you.
Tonight, we are here to celebrate 4 very special people who have been given the highest honors, I'm going to take off my mask. This is ridiculous. Tonight, we are here to celebrate 4 very special people who have been given the highest honors bestowed on individuals at this time of year. Between the 4 of them, we have among us board members, past and present, minyan makers, always willing to join us for Shabbat services, holiday services, and Shiva minions. They always want to ensure that their, excuse me, They always want to ensure that there are enough members present to say Kaddish and recite our other prayers. The men's club participants, Central Florida social action supporters, kitchen helpers, setup and breakdown squad team members, organizers of social activities, our CBA, the one who made our CBA masks, Marcia, CBA ambassadors, and the list goes on. Ira, Lois, Marcia, and Mark have always been there for our Betham, and this past year was no different. No one did it for the accolades. They did it because they are committed to our community. When times were tough and our future was questionable, both recently and the past, they didn't give up on us. Instead, they all said, what can we do to help? This year, Lois and Mark chose to take on roles of leadership on the board of directors as Secretary and Ways and Means Vice President. They have both been put in positions of having to make difficult and bold decisions. Mark has not only planned and executed 2 very successful fundraisers this year, he has also been making plans for the Men's Night Out event coming up in November and was instrumental in arranging our family picnic with Rabbi Barnett. Lois has a reputation for saying what is on her mind, and we love her for that. But all joking aside, her devotion to our synagogue has gone way beyond what the job description of the secretary includes. There is this joke between us. Whenever she gets a call from one of us, she simply says, "What do you need me to do now?" Her eye for detail has been a blessing when there have been decisions to make with our marketing rep. She has worked to get our calendar in shape with updated information, and she has offered to host several social activities, including the launch of our revised Mitzvah Brigade group, and is always willing to take notes during any meeting she attends. They are both valued and respected members of our board. Ira and Marcia are shining examples of a true volunteer. Ira, despite his crazy work schedule, is always willing to help with any project or a call for assistance. Ira served on the building search committee and was one of the first to speak up and share his views on how we can make this building our home and to look beyond the church. When he is not on call or scheduled to go into work at the hospital, he is here to do the heavy lifting and the setup and breakdown in order to make this space right for us. Ira has supported our social activities, religious services and programs, and fundraisers. And when we were Zoomers was a familiar box on the screen. Marcia is no different than Ira. She is always willing to help with any project, committee, or event as well. Marcia is our liaison to the Safe House, one of our Mitzvah Brigade projects. Marcia keeps in touch with the director and will take all the generous donations of fruit and healthy snacks to their drop-off site after the conclusion of a holiday. Many of you remember the supporters wall hanging and how many of you have been wearing your CBA masks. Marcia is the face behind both of those initiatives. She designed the wall hanging and mask and handled all of the actual work. She has also made a covering for our Shokan and made lovely curtains for our previous ark. Marcia, along with Lois, handled our Rosh Hashanah apple and honey snack, and she was right there stuffing the break the fast bags. Marcia not only helps with behind-the-scene tasks, she is always one of the first to sign up to help. She is active with fundraising, social programming, social action, religious programming, and will be an invaluable member of the kitchen committee, sharing her ideas on how to reintroduce food to our CBA life. Our 4 honorees have hearts of gold, and it is quite obvious that CBA has a special place in their hearts. They are compassionate, caring, giving, and not afraid to roll up their sleeves to do whatever is needed to move us forward. Their actions and contributions are strong indicators that they believe in our path of growth and rejuvenation. They are not just members, they are family. We are privileged and honored to work side by side with each of them. We are proud and excited to show our thanks for all that you do, and are so pleased that you have accepted the honor of Kalat Torah and Chatan Breshit for our Simcha Torah celebration. And now back to Rabbi Barnett.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So I put I don't know if you can hear through the mic or through the mask. Yes. Okay, so I went masked again, like the Lone Ranger. We'll call upon Mark at this time to shepherd us through the various readings.
Is it okay that we end Devarim and then begin Bereshit?
Absolutely. That's actually part of the plan. Just 1 second here. There is another aspect here then. Just a minute. Does it have it here? Does the Pew team? Just a minute.
Whose honor is it for
What?
the Torah? Who has Kalat Torah?
So you had the 4. It's up to you to decide which one is which then.
Aaron Bar? Stan?
Okay.
It's like the blessing for the Torah.
Just 1 second.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vaed. Asher b'akavanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai. Amen. V'lo kan naviot b'Yisrael k'Moshe, asher yado Adonai panim el panim, v'chol ha'otot והמופתים אשר שלחו אדוני לעשות בארץ מצרים לפרעה ולכל עבדיו ולכל ארצו וכל היד החזקה ולכל המורא הגדול אשר עשה משה לעיני כל ישראל. The blessings afterwards. I have no idea. Amen.
7:19. Just 1 second. Just 1 second here.
Morris happened to notice that that was the end.
That was the end.
It is the end.
No.
Kol Yisrael.
This is the beginning of the end.
And if you've never seen the Eitz Chaim before, this is your one chance to see the poll. 5.
Anybody want to come up and look?
Anybody want to see the poll? You only get to see this once a year. I know it's just a piece of wood, but it's the only time you get to see the Eitz Chaim because it gets loaded up tight. It is simply sewn to the wood. A couple of holes and a couple of catgut. And we don't, this is pretty clean because we only see it once a year. But she brought it. Yeah.
Hurry up, Patty.
No glue, kind of. And it's tight.
Now, before they had whiteout, what do they do when they're writing and they made a mistake?
they have to start a section over. You're not allowed to erase it. So if there was a mistake made, they would disassemble that portion, the cloth, which was made from lamb's skin, and they had to disassemble that, write an entire new one, and then sew it back together.
Now, cut. It's animal singing. And am I not mistaken that if there is some question as to what a letter is it a dalet or a resh, you ask a child who just knows the alphabet, what do you see? Is it a dalet or resh? And whatever the kid says is what it is. And if it's the letter you want, it's kosher. And if it's not, you have to remove that section.
That's very interesting. So we would to make sure that is a correct tradition and law, we would check with a scribe. I'm going to defer on that to an expert who would be more knowledgeable than I.
Torahs now. So when we move this, if you want to rise for Bezot HaTorah, that would be totally acceptable. We have to roll it. So don't bring a baby. Keep going first.
Bezot HaTorah asher sa Moshe לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה.
Sing a song.
Sing a song.
I always like that.
Sing out loud.
All right. Are you a
Sing
fan of
out
this?
song.
Anenu yom koreinu, anenu, anenu, anenu yom koreinu.
This is as close to time travel as we get. We are going back in time. Back in time.
Sisu v'simchu v'simchat Torah, utnu chavod la Torah. Sisu v'simchu v'simchat Torah, Torah. Sisu v'simchu v'simchat Torah, utnu chavod la Torah. Sisu v'simchu v'simchat Torah, Torah. Kol sason ve'kol simcha, kol chatan ve'kol kala. כל ששון וכל שמחה, כל חתן וכל כלה. כל ששון וכל שמחה, כל חתן וכל תורה. כל ששון וכל שמחה, כל חתן וכל כלה. בשנה הבאה נשב על המרפסת ונספור ציפורים נודדות. Yes, they do. I did. ילדים בכוסה נותנים תופסת בין הבית ובין השדות. Bashana, no, come on. Wait, I'm sorry. Otire, kama tovie. Bashana haba. Neshev al המרפסת ונספור ציפורים נודדות, ילדים בחופשה, נושב על מרפסת ונשחק בין הבית וצדדות. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. And have we found the place?
Yes. Yeah, we think so.
Okay.
All right. be on the camera, okay? Come.
Yeah.
Come. That's fine. Yeah,
So-
have you been vaccinated?
Have I ever?
Against smallpox?
Yes.
Good. Polio?
Yes.
Mumps, measles, rubella?
Absolutely.
Diphtheria?
Yes. Even yellow fever.
Ebola?
I don't know that there's.
Well, I'll tell you what. So we don't go too far into break any HIPAA situations here.
We call to the Torah, Lois, and Marcia.
Except that the cameras won't be able to see their faces.
Come closer and back up. Just don't breathe on us.
They won't see us anyway.
There, go.
You can come to that bima there. You can take turns going to this bima there. You've been sitting next to each other anyway. If you want.
Trust each other.
I know.
Okay, let's move.
Okay.
Baruch Adonai Hamorah.
Baruch Adonai Vorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shmo. Amen.
בראשית בו אלוהים את השמיים ואת הארץ והארץ היה תוהו ובוהו ויחש על פני המים ויברך אלוהים מלככת על פני המים ויאמר אלוהים ותאור ויהי אור ויראה אלוהים את האור כי טוב ויגדל אלוהים בין הקור ובין החושך ויקרא את החושך לאור יום וחושך קורא מלאכת בוקר יום אחד.
Your turn, girls. Amen. Well, we have it open. Everybody know Vayachulu?
Yes.
The seventh Aliyah. Vayachulu. Hashem ha'aretz v'chatzavam. Vayichal Elohim bayom hashvi'i malachto asher asa. Vayishbot bayom hashvi'i makam malachto asher asa. Asher asa. Vayivorech Elohim et yom hashvi'i. Vayikra vayikadesh oto. Ki bo Shabbat makam malachto. Asher bara Elohim la'asot. We're going to tie the Torah, we're going to lift, we're going to put them all away. You can stay.
Oh, are we having a congregational aliyah then?
Well, you know what? Let's have a congregational aliyah. And that's what we're going to do. I should have thought of that before. Everybody rise. Step to the middle. I didn't say Simon says. You're not supposed to do it.
You can just invite who the one again.
We're going to.
Yes.
Achat, shtayim, shalosh. Baruch
Le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
ויכלו השמיים והארץ וחוסר בעם ויכל עליהם
Hayom hashvi'i.
מלאכתו אשר עשה וישפוט ביום השביעי וכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך עליהם את יום השביעי ויקרא אותו כי בו שבת וכל מלאכתו אשר בורא עליהם לעשות.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'dochenu. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah. And just before we do anything else, I'm going to take rabbinic liberty here and lead us all in a plural version of the Birkat HaGomel. So let me explain what this is. This is going to be a very appropriate moment to do it. This is a blessing, thanking God for helping us to come through any situation that is dangerous, any situation of peril, any situation of trauma, whether you had a near escape on almost a near collision, or a near parking accident, or near falling or stumbling, or recovering from an illness. Whatever you've been through the last year, let's just assume it's been something for all of us, which it has. Otherwise, and the mere escaping from not being, deathly ill from COVID. So we say a blessing here and express our gratitude to God for that. And I'm going to convert it into plural, and then we'll sort of convert the response, which is normally from the congregation. We're going to respond to ourselves. So allow me to make those grammatical adjustments for us. That's going to be found on page 322. And there is no, yes, there is a transliteration. So it'll be slightly changed because, like I said, I'm going to be changing the verb forms. We'll do it slowly. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hagomel l'chayvim tovot, shegamelanu kol tov. Blessed art thou, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who bestows good beyond our deserving, and who has dealt graciously with us. And then we will respond, Mishagomelenu kol tov, hu yigmalenu kol tov tamid, hu yigmalenu kol tov tamid, Salah. And I said, may he who then has blessed us with such graciousness and goodness, may he continue to bless us always with such goodness, and we can say, Amen. Amen. Wonderful. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. Here's another one. Torah, 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 ציווה לנו משה. Hey, Torah, 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 ציווה לנו משה. Torah, 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 ציווה לנו משה. Torah, 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 ציווה לנו משה.
While the Torah is being returned to the ark, we'll do Yahalelu and Hodu La'aretz while Mark and Ira take the Torahs back. Dan, will you open the ark for them? Who's got this one? You want to put the yad on this one? Because we'll do this one for Shabbat. All right. And Dan, if you'll give Mark the other one. Yahalelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav Shemo levado.
הודו על הארץ ושמיים, הירם קרן לעמו, תהילה לכל חסידיו, לבני ישראל עם קרובו. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Please remain standing. Mark, thank you so much. Morris, thank you so much for helping out. And everyone else who was assisted there, and Ira. We're going to wait till they come out of the room, and then we'll do Aleinu, which is going to be found on page 118. And for Aleinu, we shall face Karagil, our eastern wall. Just want to wait a second. I want to thank Dan and Ira there for doing that mitzvah. Here, I think I see. He can certainly hear us. There we go. Page 118. Thank you all. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומשב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום וישבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. על כן נקבל לך אדוני אלוהינו לראות מהרה ודבר על עוזך. להביא הגלים מן הארץ כי המלכות שלך היא למעט ימלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. And at this time, we continue with the Mourner's Kaddish, page 124. For those reciting Kaddish, please rise and join me now. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמעלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, יתהדר ויתעלה ויתחלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דאמרם ועלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen. May God grant comfort to all of us who mourn, and may the memory of those for whom we mourn remain among us as a loving, living, and inspiring benediction. And we can say amen. So at this time, I know Joni's back there doing things. Dan, would you like to perhaps make any announcements that you'd like to make?
Good, Yontif. Actually, services Friday evening, 7:30, Saturday morning, 9:30. We'll see you then. What? Sunday at 12:30, we're taking down the sukkah.
Okay, the dismantling of the sukkah this coming Sunday at 12:30 for the members of the men's club. Okay. Well, in this case, I'm going to suggest that we will not just do the first and last verses of Yigdal, but we'll do the first two verses and then the last verse with the refrain as well. Yigdal Elohim chai v'yishtabach nimtza ve'ein et el metziuto echad ve'en yachid k'yichudo נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו, הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו, אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו. גומל לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרישתו. ישלח לקץ ימין משיחנו, לפתות מחכה קץ ישועתו. מתים יחיה אל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי עד השם תהילתו. מתים יחיה אל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו. Good Yontif. Chag Sameach. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for coming and making our nice minyan and our dancing. I want to salute everyone who got up and danced. And say Yasher Koach to all of you. May we be able to be privileged to do so again in the future as a congregation, and we can say amen to that. I want to thank everyone again for the record who helped with our services this evening. It was Tamara and Albert from the Life Point Church. I want to thank Tom Mayer and Joni, especially Tom for all the things he always does behind the scenes, and Dan, so our co-presidents, Joni Mayer and Dan Williams, and then everyone else here, Mark Davids in particular. Again, I want to thank him for everything he did for our music, our hakafot, as well as our Torah readings. Yasher Koach to all of you. And we'll see you in the sukkah here. We're going to make kiddush and say motzi in the sukkah. And we have some chairs set up. So the idea is to rotate. As soon as we're going to have you say the blessing for the bread while you are seated. That indicates that you're having a meal. If you have just a little bit of bread, that counts as a meal. And then relinquish your seat, please, for someone else to sit down. So we're going to have like at least 4 chairs out there. And it's going to be nice and cozy, and it'll be fun. And that'll be that. So we'll see you now in the sukkah. Excelente. So we won't be able to have the live stream in the sukkah there. So for those live stream participants, we hope that you enjoyed watching this service. And we want to thank you so much for supporting this channel and supporting Congregation Betham. Shalom Aleichem. Chag Sameach.